Hello and welcome back here in our online studio. Yes, go ahead, walk behind me, just don't kick the lamps. As you can see, the physical audience is going for a coffee break, and here we're going to get some exclusive content for you. At the end of these 30 minutes, I'm going to talk to Nicholas Singer about all the ways that you can get feedback on your project ideas and how you can actually use that feedback to improve your application before you submit. But stay also tuned because both Magda and Jane and Federico, who you just saw on stage, are coming here into the studio to actually answer your specific questions. And I've been copying a few, and you can still post your questions during that. And I want to compliment you guys because you guys are doing a great job. We see a ton of questions coming through both the question box and a little bit on Twitter. But we hope we can kind of direct your questions that are for our policy and finance officers a little bit more to the Facebook page of Interact, which is at facebook.com/InteractEurope, or to Twitter via the hashtag Europe Cooperates. So we use the question box also more for the questions to the panel on stage, because in the second part of the plenary program, we will have more Q&A time with the panel on stage, and we kind of want to filter those out, because as you can see, our policy officers find it kind of difficult to respond inside that question box, right? That's kind of messy. But in general, you're doing a great job. We can see in the statistics that there's hundreds of you. And what I would like you to do is actually, if you're sitting somewhere and you're watching right now, and you have access to a mobile phone, which I bet you have, if you could take some kind of picture, selfie, photo, or ask any of your colleagues to shoot a photo of yourself and share that with us, perhaps with a little piece of paper where you write your country or where you're from, send us where you are watching us, so both we here in the room, but also the other online viewers can actually see you and where you're watching. Well, we'll be checking the website. I saw a nice tweet from Francesca Torfisco. I think you're from Spain. She's attending the online event. I saw a tweet from David Seuan attending the online event. Good job. Keep that up. And I want to see much more of those tweets. Well, hidden behind the pole and in between the public walking out, I see Jane Holmgaard ready. And Federico, please join me. Step into our little studio. Congratulations. I think ladies first. Jane, if you come stand here. And, yeah, here we go. Great job. Thanks for sharing your projects with us. I hope those of you who joined later, in brief, you are working on bringing the circular economy to small and medium enterprises, right? And you are working in the theme of environment and resource efficiency to create more energy efficiency, right?
Actually, it's more low carbon.
Low carbon.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great job.
But yeah, they're very much related. So.
A lot of our viewers, we learned, are actually here because they want to apply to a project. And you are now some of these experienced, and I understood you were in the previous program as well, so you're very experienced in applying for projects and being successful in that. So let's see if we can share some tips. Before I go to the questions from some of our online audience, what is your first best tip that comes to mind when our viewers, top of head, before we go deeper in, what would you say?
Well, I would say, first of all, trusted partners also. That's the
key,
basis.
the partnership.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't open up to new partners. Actually, there are a lot of new partners.
Because that's what you mean when you say trusted partners. That's go into partnerships with people you already have a relation with.
Yeah, I mean, at least one or two or whatever, or people with whom you know that you can build a trustworthy relationship.
Exactly.
And that that you maybe they're new people, like people that you just met. But before getting into a project, you have to know that this is, that's gonna be.
Do you give this tip because you have a bad experience with this? Did you encounter something with a bad project manager or a new person that didn't work out?
Well, yeah, in past
you don't
projects.
Have to
Yeah,
name
in past, no, of course, yeah. But yeah, in past projects that happened.
Okay.
We weren't coordinators or whatever. But
so what
yeah,
went wrong?
Well, just you sometimes you have to find partners from geographical new locations or whatever, and that
Yeah, you just have to pick one to make sure you cover
exactly.
your region.
That's I mean, it's better. I mean, my guess it's better to avoid this kind of situation, and either I mean, when I say trusted partners, it's not somebody that I know for sure, but like it's also like partner from a partner that I've never met, but that the partner has already that's like.
Yeah.
And I mean, we met some of our partners, we just met them at the previous Let's
forum in
Cooperate.
Bologna.
Yes,
Yeah?
exactly, in
All
Bologna.
right.
I mean, we didn't know that, but then we had Skype and everything. And
So
we
a
just,
second tip would be attend the live events
Yeah,
that
also,
interact either
yeah.
locally or
Yeah.
forum like this. Jane, if you could step in a little bit, so I'm not covering
Yeah.
your face in the live. Do you agree with his tip? And how did you find your partners? Because you just
Yeah.
mentioned you have 10, all trusted partners.
Yeah. Well, very much so. I think the partnership is key to the project's success. I think a way to come around that would be to meet in person for a preparation meeting, which I did, because it's always better to look each other into the eyes and see if we understand the same things with the things we say, and it's always harder to do it by email or Skype. So yeah. So having 24 hours spent together, developing the project.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Like a pressure cooker type of meeting
Yeah.
where all of you came together?
Yeah.
And was that did you design that yourself or did you have external moderators? How did
No,
that
I
work?
did it myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody came to Denmark.
Almost everybody came to Denmark. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice tip. What would your top of your head tip be? And I'm gonna put you because I see the shade. The lamp is there. What would your top of your mind best tip be for people considering to apply for the next call for projects?
Make sure that you understand what the program is really about.
This program.
Yes. Read the manual carefully. Listen to what the JS is telling that they want and what they are looking for. That is really important.
And make sure you stay watching because at the end of this coffee break, we will actually talk to Nicholas Singer, who knows all about all the ways that that you can actually get feedback from Interact before you submit your project. Shall we take some questions from our online audience? Again, Raluca, if anything comes in during the talk, if you have any questions during our discussion right here, make sure you type them in the question box or hashtag Europe Cooperates. I already copied a few while you guys were on stage. Some of them might even be from during Steve Sampson when he joined here, another approved project. Quite a few questions kind of go into the direction of how to involve, as I paraphrase the question, how to involve the real world. Because obviously we're kind of on a meta level here, right? We're into policy improvement, and policy is already to make improvements in the real world, and now we're in secondary policy improvement. So can you share some best practices, how you tied up in your case with the actual small and medium enterprises, or in your case with the local energy consumers? Who'd like to pick that one first? Ladies first. Okay, let's go. The real world. So in your circular economy project, how are the small and medium enterprises involved?
Well, during phase one, it's pretty much about the development of the tools and the customization of them. But we will bring in some enterprises to get their feedback on how does this tool work for you. What is your real barrier? What are the barriers you face, and how to overcome them? How can we help you? How can we support you? What do you need to take this step or to make the decision? And then I think this is what phase two is really all about. It's to implement this into the real target group.
We'll get to that in a second because we have quite some questions about that as well. But when you say in phase one, I just want to use my SMEs, small enterprises, as a research pool. I use them for research. And how do you organize that? Very practically.
Very practically, we all have a local support group. And then once in a while, we will bring in the
Of
SMEs.
how many organizations?
It's not settled yet.
Okay.
I'm just starting
Yeah,
to
I know.
inviting
We all
them
know
in.
yeah. But what do you envision? Is it 10, 50, 100?
No. 6 to 7.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Organizations that you invite to actively be involved.
Yeah, and maybe they will not be gathered at the same meeting, all of them, but in bilateral meetings. It's,
All right.
It depends. Yeah, and then I'll bring in the SMEs as well to some of the meetings.
To the meetings with the policymakers to
Yep.
actually have their
Yep.
real-time
Yep.
feedback.
Yep.
Good job. Well, Raluca raises her hands, means Raluca, we have an online question live. Yes, come in.
Yes, we have a question for Jane.
Yeah.
Jane, can you see me and
Yeah, if you
hear
speak
me?
loud.
Okay, so the question is, do you have other partners from Denmark involved in your project?
If I have
Other partners from
Other
Denmark. Yeah,
partners
yeah, yeah.
from
We see
Denmark.
quite some questions about that. Like, how many partners can you have from the same country? Do you have other Danish partners in your project involved?
I have the managing authority. They are the partner as well.
Yeah, because
Besides
we
me,
heard you
yeah.
talk about
But
that. That you
besides
found
that,
that very
no.
important. No, exactly. Just and are they actively involved or are they just supporting, like we talked
They're
about?
actively involved.
Actively
yeah,
involved.
so they're going to take part in all the meetings going on.
All right. And what's their stake? Why did you? How did you convince them to actually make time for this?
Well, it was pretty easy actually because they know about the former project, which was quite successful. So I think it was easy, and also because we have this money within circular economy, it's new thing in the strategy, and we don't know how to implement this.
Yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Federico, in your case, how do you involve the real world in
Yeah.
your
Well,
process?
I mean, when you talk about smart grids,
Because
I mean,
who are
yeah.
you aiming at, just to be sure? Because small medium enterprises is kind of a
Yeah,
clearly
that's
defined
that's
group.
a very good.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good question because when you talk about smart grids, you have the consumer, so
Yeah.
the person who's at the end of the grid,
Yeah.
let's say, who
Yeah.
uses the electricity, and you have also the producers, of course, and everything that's in the middle. But also smart grids is also about technology, so you have the small SMEs,
grid
whatever,
management, yeah.
also the people who actually build the smart meters, for example, or they install the smart meters or whatever. So you have a lot of things at the same time. But then the other thing, what's very interesting about these projects is that the involvement of the stakeholders, it's you who decide how to involve them. So like
Yeah,
for example,
But how have you
yeah. So
decided
like
on
for
that?
example, what we decided to as Jane said, we have the local stakeholders group, and there we have all the people that are involved in the regional strategy for smart grid development. So you have the universities because the technical part. You have also other business organization. But then what we actually wanted to do was to have a real engagement event, let's say. So we're gonna do that in all partner regions at some point during the project, where we're gonna have like a 1 day event on smart grids, what they are for all the stakeholders involved. So typically that's something that you can do
And
during the.
what are you guys
the
going to
project.
discuss at this event? Is this an event about policy improvement or evaluating policy tactics, or what is the core agenda there?
Yeah, it's more. Of course, that event is gonna take
I know,
place
I
in
know,
like
but
2
we're
years.
dreaming,
But
right?
yeah, we're dreaming. So
Yeah.
what I would really like this event to be, it's like an event where you communicate on what you're doing. You communicate what exactly this is, because for example, in smart grids, you have a big problem with consumers. They don't. Not everybody accepts the fact, like to have smart meters, for example, like that everybody knows how to. I'm
what
actually
you use and
using
what you-
energy.
yeah.
So, for example, there's a lot of things at stake there. So, for example, an engagement event that it's like to reassure everybody to talk about big data, because every time you talk about the big data, that scares everybody. But then you just have to explain things the way they are simply, and so that's the kind of event that
The
you
events and the knowledge sharing that you want to facilitate,
Exactly.
and from that
Yeah.
you're going to extract
Yeah.
your policy best
Yeah.
practices. All right. We talked a little bit about other countries involved. Let me look at Raluca. Let me see if some of the last minute stuff comes in, and otherwise. Yeah. Okay. You have one. Yeah. Shoot.
Yes, we have one more question for both Jane and Federico. So, which activities in your project seem the most challenging to you?
Exactly.
Is it involving the MAs? Is it mobilizing ERDF funding or something else?
Exactly. And I think we talk, well, let's explore, because we can talk about this in the pre-approval phase or in the post-approval phase. But let's talk about it a little bit in the pre-approval phase, because that's where most of our viewers was. What were your biggest challenges in getting that project together and apparently come up with a successful application, right? What were you struggling with?
I think one of the most challenging thing was that the organizations that came into the partnership work very, very differently. They make decisions differently, and they sign partner declarations differently. So I had a really, really tight deadline getting all these documents collected.
In term for the Interact closing
Yes,
date?
and also because the wording is really, really important. If you just have one spelling wrong, the entire application will be denied. So
Let's check that.
sometimes we had to go another round, and they were really not up to it. So
All right. And what did you do to overcome that? Is that just
But you have to.
sweat and hard
Yeah,
work?
yeah.
Any practical tips or just
Yeah, day and
commitment,
night. Yeah,
energy?
you have to.
All right, great. And Federico, how was that with you? What was your challenge in this application process?
Actually, our challenge was also to gathering the right partners together, because as I said, smart grids,
Yeah, it's
from
so
this
complex
perspective,
and
it's
so many
complex, but it's
stakeholders.
also relatively new. From this perspective, a lot of technological things going on and other European projects. But at the regional level, there are not a lot of regions that are engaged in this kind of. And since, I mean, with the new Interreg Euro program, you really need to have the ERDF funds, I mean, some engagement at the ERDF funds level. So it was very, very hard to find, that was actually somehow easy for us, for Brittany, because it's like a regional strategy and whatever, but to find other regions that had exactly the same budget lines in their ERDF, or not the same, but like similar.
Yeah.
That was very, very challenging.
And what did you do to overcome that?
Well, we had a look at the also the RIS 3 portal,
Yeah.
the S3 policy platform.
Yeah.
So to find if other regions had like smart grids on their
Okay, so you were looking
specialization
online.
strategies, yes.
Yeah.
And well, and then we started to call all the partners we know.
Raluca, did you see the last one about the example? Yeah, I want to take that and close that off. I saw that coming in here as well. And again, you guys are good online viewers. It's a pity you logged in as anonymous. I mean, if you just joined and you don't know how to change your name, click on the little 3 stripes and add your name so we can actually make a shout out to you. Because let's finish with this question again. We're so abstract and we're so meta in policy improvement. So this question is, could you give us one example in your project of an actual regional policy that you're trying to improve or impact?
But you have to do that when you do the application. You have to.
Okay, so maybe for you it's easy, but apparently that doesn't come across
Okay,
yet. So
but if you
give us
look
an
into
example.
the application form, you have to write exactly which policy you're going to change by number, by headline,
Okay.
and describe it as well.
And how is that in the SME circular economy
Yeah, but
project?
it's always like that when you have the regional strategies, that they are also really broad in the strategy frameworks. So
you could now list one, but it doesn't make
yeah,
it
but
any
it's
more
just a
tangible.
headline. Yeah,
Exactly.
we want to improve green growth in general and circular economy in particular.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's still
And then
not,
it's
still
got a
super
number of
broad.
the chapter
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
strategy.
And how's
Yeah.
that with you, Federico? Could you pick out like a concrete policy that you're actually trying to impact?
Yeah, well, as Jane said, I mean, that also, you know, like every region has this operational program, ERDF, so we chose that policy instrument, and then you go and have a look at all the budget lines and all the specific objectives and actions that are actually foreseen in the ERDF operational program. And well, for Brittany, as I said, smart grids are a real priority, so it happens that we had an action called Smart Grids, development of smart grids.
And
so
you could single
and
that out
you
and say
just
that's what
exactly,
we're working on.
yeah, yeah,
All right. Well, looking at the clock, I can see that the program on the website, we're running a bit late, but I also have 2 very interesting guests lined up for me. So let's move on. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being on stage. Have a cup of coffee because I think you guys are going back,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Well, enjoy. See you later back on stage. And with that, I'm moving over to that table I've been shouting at all the time, because here are our project and finance officers. Here's Raluca. Let's check in with you guys, because as we could see, things are going very well. You're asking a lot of very practical questions. You keep doing it in the questions box. Okay, we'll deal with that. Ideally, you go to the Interact Facebook page and actually place a comment there, because it's much easier for us to keep track of what's going on. But Benoit, you are part of the Interact team.
Yes, that's right.
Can you give us an example of the type of questions that you've been answering here this afternoon?
Yes, Gerrit. Well, as a matter of fact, we have a variety of questions. For instance, we have questions on how to improve the policy instruments. That was tackled partly by the speakers, but mainly through projects or through improved governance or even through redrafting part of the OP. These are the 3 main channels through which you can improve the policy instruments. People also were wondering who is eligible to the program, so mainly public administration, regional and local authorities. Of course, the managing authorities and the intermediate bodies of the structural funds program.
Yeah.
All those people are our main target group, but also what we call in our jargon bodies governed by public law, like universities, chamber of commerce, are also
Eligible.
eligible.
Good.
Some people were also wondering how to involve SMEs.
Yeah.
This is a question
Yeah,
which
we
comes.
talked about that with Federico. But how do we involve the real world?
Well, the SMEs cannot be direct partners.
No.
So because they are profit oriented.
Exactly.
They cannot receive ERDF directly either. So one way to involve SMEs is to make them member of the local stakeholder groups, because through that you can pay their travel and accommodation cost to the meeting. So
Yeah.
they can also learn a bit more indirectly, but still from the cooperation.
Okay.
And last question quickly, partners outside EU, we had a question, can Turkey join? Yes, Turkey can join projects, cannot receive ERDF because it's not an EU country, but EU partners are allowed to pay for the travel and accommodation cost of the Turkish partners.
Okay, so there are ways to even go beyond Europe
Exactly.
and get those learning in.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. And I find it very important to actually show what is going on here and show these tables, because you guys, and I'll get to Nicholas in a second about all the stuff you know and do to actually help people to improve their project applications. You guys are sitting here all afternoon, right? There's a battery of computers here. You guys are focused both on the Slido interaction box. We have Twitter, we have Facebook. We saw Facebook is very quiet. So please head over to the Interact Europe Facebook page and add your questions there in the comments. So it's very easy to keep track of. Thank you, Benoit. Keep up the good work and keep answering those questions, because I like it a lot. Good luck. I'll keep this one with you. If anything comes in from Magda, of course, because that's my next guest. Magda, please join me. Step in.
Hi, Gerrit.
Hi, good to see you again. I don't
Good
know
to
how
see
many
you again,
many
indeed.
viewers saw our little performance in Bologna 2 years ago. We just saw you on stage introducing the educational, the policy learning platforms. Erwin Siveris mentioned them briefly at his introduction here. And a question that came in during your talk on stage is Marina Bresciani, who's actually one of the local coordinators. She asked, so how can we get in touch with these policy learning platforms? And I think it's not exactly clear for everybody
Yes, okay.
that they're not there yet,
Yeah,
but you talk
exactly.
about them as if they're already ready. So
That's
tell us
right.
a little bit more.
Thank you very much. This is a very good question, because indeed we had a 5 minutes presentation. We didn't go to the essential. When these policy learning platforms will be ready, up and running, and offering these services that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And now we are in the process, of course, of setting up this expert team. As I said, we have a big expert team of thematic and communication experts. So it was a very lengthy procurement, public procurement. We are in the phase of finalizing the assessment, and hopefully by June we'll have our experts and start working with them. So what I said before, now we have already online just the announcement that they're coming up. We have already some information about the services that are coming up, but I think that we will be able to have the official launch during the Open Days in 2015, I think 16.
Yeah.
During the Open Days,
Yeah.
and then at the Open Days we will have also open the services, so people will start using the knowledge bank, start using these networking possibilities with a database of practitioners. They will start having the access to the experts and ask for the help desk, and as I say, peer reviews, exercises, thematic workshops. Of course, just to add one last thing on this, doesn't mean because we are not having yet the services up and running, that people cannot do a little bit of work already.
Yeah, because I saw some of the features you mentioned seem to be already in the Interact community platform, right? And by the way, if you're watching us and you haven't signed up yet for that platform, use that little blue button in the top right of your corner where it says register for the online community. There's already 6,000 people there. It's free, and it can already give you access to a project search. You can follow project, you can contact people, right?
Exactly.
Will the policy learning platform be exactly separated, or will it be a transition of this
Yes.
community platform?
The whole idea is not to confuse people. We
Yeah.
want one entry level. One entry level is our website. So people already that are part of the community, of course, they register to the community in order to be present with us. But already I would say that you go back to your profile and fill in more information, because of course we wanted this to be as easy as possible. So we just ask for their emails now. But the more you put information about your profile, your organization, what you are interested in, your thematic interest, then the more we start already building this, what we say, the database of practitioners and owners of good practices. Everything will be integrated and built in or what already
In that
exists
same
on our
platform.
website. So it's really just making a seamless, let's say, transition to the policy learning platforms. You will have the same interface. You
Glad
will
to
just
hear
have
that.
new services adding up.
Okay, That's super. Now, in this path ahead of you, what are some of your main challenges to actually make this successful?
Indeed, and we will have a lot, I think, because it's a new feature. It's exciting. We have all our lights on us. Of course, a lot of support from the DG Regio, so that's important. But for me, the most important is one, to identify the need, and then to answer this need. So we are thinking of having a continuous feedback loops online and offline. So we capture the voice of the people, the voice of the users. And then we will have to work to be proactive and reactive and to work together with the experts to be on time, giving the answers to this need.
Okay.
But I think also there is another main
So
question.
it's close involvement with the
With the
intended user group.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because
Yeah.
the user, now we do
Like
some...
we did here, right?
Exactly.
With the little
that
poll
we,
about
we
what
already
actually, what are
had
the
some
features you want.
information.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And this is the thing that we don't want a top-down approach that is the expert telling is the truth holder. It's not that the idea. The idea is the user is the expert. So this is the first knowledge bank that we are setting. It's of course some seed knowledge, but then it's the users that are sharing the knowledge. It's a community of peers. So you talk. And you create knowledge and you share. You are actually the resources.
You are, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And how will you know that these policymakers will actually respond to that? That is going to happen.
Yes, I think for this we need to work with existing tools. First of all, there are a lot of other platforms, networks, initiatives, programs. We have done a lot of work to map this and have already opened a dialogue. We work very closely with the Smart Specialization Strategies platform in Sevilla because of course we got the inspiration from
I
them.
think people can look this up, because
Yes.
you said this really, really
Yes,
quick,
yes,
but you'll send a tweet where they go for that.
Indeed. And then, of course, we have this dialogue with the other networks and we use these networks to spread the word. But I think this is important that we have also very close cooperation with the DG Regio. And they have the geographical units that they are the ones working directly with the managing authorities, which are target groups.
Exactly.
So the idea is that when we launch our platforms after the open days of 2016,
Yeah.
then we do that in co-organization with the DG Regio. So our launch events, we're doing the secretariat, the program with DG Regio. So we hope to get everybody
To get that all
on
at
board.
the same time.
Yes.
I see where Luca has a question specifically for Magda. Yes, shout it out.
Somebody is asking if you have some tips on how to link the second call proposals to the policy learning platforms.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it
Those
an
are
important
s-
criterion for the selection?
Okay.
I think we have some smart viewers.
the
They s-
second call.
Yes, the second call.
Okay.
So basically,
The-
that's about how can we tie these platforms into our application, right? Smart thinkers.
Okay, for the time being, of course, it's a question of time because we said that we are now selecting our expert team and this will be up and running after the summer. So now we launch already our second call. It will be closed the 13th of May. So for this, we have all the events and the help and support that we give to the applicants. So I won't see that the platforms have an active role at that moment. But what comes up is that, of course, the projects, the first call projects, that they start producing results, this we take on board, we analyze, we start putting this in our databases. So it might be not immediately a
Available?
link for the
Yeah.
second call, but definitely will be a link for the third call, and all this knowledge from the second call will come into the platforms.
Exactly, and it shows that you are definitely paying attention. So good job
Yes.
for that. Well, Magda, thank you very much for
Thank you
sharing a
very
little
much.
bit more about that. People can find you online everywhere, of course. If
course.
you have any more questions, let's find it there.
Thank you very much, Gerrit.
Now, and with that, as you can see, our schedule is somewhat changed because the room already filled up. We're running 10 minutes late. I promised you an interview with Nicholas Singer about all the ways that the Interact Secretariat can provide you feedback on your project application before you submit it. Well, let's move that to the post-show directly after the stage program has been over. Nicholas will stay close. I'll go to him there and ask all the questions. In the meantime, in this segment coming up on stage, we'll go deeper into the project, the support that you can get, and please keep asking your questions because I can be your voice, as Katarina already provided a couple of times. I can be asking your questions on your behalf here in the room. If you just joined us, please show us where you're watching. Share a tweet with hashtag Europe Cooperates. Share a photo of you and your team joining the online web stream. And I'll be looking forward to that. Let's go to stage.